Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to another video. So today's video is the start of a new reading vlog. I have not read a book this year that has been over a 3-star read for me. The book I'm currently in the middle of, Empire of Sand, might be a 4-star. I'm still early on into it though, and I don't want to jinx it, so like touch wood, don't end up being a disappointment. But I have not had a whole lot of luck with my reading so far this year. I don't have a new favorite and I want a new favorite book. So I thought it would be a fun idea to do a reading vlog where I read my 5-star predictions. Now, I did make a video a long time ago in the early days of my channel where I shared 5-star predictions. I am pretty sure I have read every single book on that list except for one book that is still a 5-star prediction, and I do plan to read it in this vlog. But what I thought would be a fun idea to do now is to react to that video. I haven't watched it since I uploaded it. We can find out together if my memory is correct and there's only one book on this list that I have not read. And if there is only one book that I have not read, then I have some other books here that I'm predicting and hoping will be 5 stars, and those will be the books that I read in this vlog. So let's see what old Nicole thought would be her 5-star predictions. Oh, I got an ad! I literally just got monetized, so it feels really validating right now to see an ad on my own video. Gotta watch it, gotta support me. Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome back to another video, and today I have a 5-star prediction video for you. I've seen these going around. I saw Sam from Thoughts and Poems do this, and I saw Amber also do this, so I'll have their videos linked. But I believe Mercedes... Oh my god! Look, I used to be so uncomfortable in front of the camera, and you can see it here so much. My voice... Also, the camera angle is so bad. Our first book I have here is The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. I forgot this was there. Oh my god. I only read The 5th Season last year, I think in September, in one of the later months. And yes, it was 5 stars. She was right. The second book I have is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I have read this as well, and it was also 5 stars. I think at this point I had read Khaled Hosseini's 2 other books and they were both 5 stars, so I was really confident this book was going to be a 5 stars, and it was. It's not my favorite of his. I think And the Mountain's Echoes was my favorite, but all his books incredible, highly recommend. The next book I have is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Yeah, so this was the one book I remembered being on here and the one book I thought from this list that I have not read. So I have it here and it will be read in the reading vlog proportion of this video, so the second half of this video. It's still a 5-star prediction, and I really want to read this because I've recently reread the first 2 books in the Farseer trilogy, and I am currently in the middle of Assassin's Quest, and I love Robin Hobb and her world building and her writing and her stories. I think I'm gonna love this. I think this is gonna be a 5-star. I really hope so. I've been meaning to read this book for so long, it's kind of embarrassing at this point. I don't know too much. You still haven't read it! It's been nearly 2 years! The next book I have here is Eleanor Alford is Completely Fine. I have read this one as well. I completely forgot this was on here. This was actually the first book I read back in 2020 and it was 5 stars. I did such a good job with my predictions. Like 3 of these books I have read and they were 5 stars. I also have Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. Okay. I have read this book. I read it at the very beginning of last year as well. This was not a 5-star read for me. I think at the time I gave it like a 3.5, but I think I gave that quite generously. I really don't like Mark Lawrence's narration style. I've read this now, and I've also read Prince of Thorns, which is the first book in another series of his. I don't like how he tells stories. He tends to do 2 timelines, which sometimes works for me, sometimes not, and in the case of Mark Lawrence it just really did not work for me. I also really didn't like the fat phobia in this book. I wish people talked about that or mentioned it more often because to me personally it was quite offensive. This book I have on this list is Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Okay, I have read Kindred. It was in a reading vlog I did where I read books that contain the time travel trope, and this one was a 5-star read, so I've read it and it was 5 stars. I'm really happy. The last book I have here on this list is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. I read this as well. I think I read this shortly after I made this video because Foundryside was my favorite book of 2019, which was when this was filmed. Actually, when exactly in 2019 were you filmed? Okay, so I uploaded this the 9th of September 2019. Oh my god, that was so long ago. And yeah, so I read Foundryside and it was also 5 stars. The sequel though is another story. We won't get into it. So I was correct. The only book I have left is Ship of Magic, and that's it. Okay, so my new 5-star predictions and also the books I will be reading in this vlog alongside Ship of Magic. The first one is Monstress Volume 1. I wanted to include this just because I'm so good at putting off graphic novels and manga. I don't know what's wrong with me. I put them off like nobody's business. Like, I'm more likely to put off a graphic novel than I am to put off like a huge 1,000-page book. Anyway, I thought it'd be really fun to include this in this vlog, and I do really want to read this, and of course it is a 5-star prediction. Next I have Parable of the Sower. I wanted to put this on here because I put Octavia Butler's other book Kindred on my previous 5-star prediction list. I don't really know much about it, so I'm just going to give you a synopsis once I start it, but I have a good feeling about this one and I'm pretty positive it's going to be a 5-star read, so fingers crossed. And then the last book in this vlog I hope to read and I plan to listen to the audiobook of is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. I read Monday's Not Coming last year and it was like one of my favorite books of the year. It was amazing and it is YA contemporary. Grown is also YA contemporary. It takes a lot for a YA contemporary to really stand out for me and for me to give it 5 stars and call it a favorite and just, you know, push it on everyone to read. But Monday's Not Coming was that book and I have really high expectations for Grown and think that it will also be that book. So yeah, those are the books. I'm so excited to do this. I really need some just, you know, books that I'm going to call new favorites, and that's the goal of this vlog. So wish me luck. Hopefully I am successful. Okay, first update. I've started 2 of the books, so I'm doing pretty well. I've started listening to the audiobook of Grown. I'm currently sitting in about 30%, I think a bit over 30%. To be completely honest, this book is actually really difficult to read. Content-wise, it's just very heavy and dark. It's about grooming. It's not negatively impacting my read of the book. I'm just like pacing myself with the book more because of the content, if that makes sense. Like, I still am liking the book and I think it's really, really great. And I think also this difficult topic is being handled really well so far, but it's a difficult read and I haven't had one of these in a while. In fact, sometimes I feel like I'm a bit desensitized to sensitive topics. I tend to read a lot of really dark fantasy. Anyway, I should tell you what the book is actually about, give you a proper synopsis. We follow Enchanted in this. She is 17 years old, and what I love so far about this is her family. She comes from this pretty big family. She's the oldest of 4 kids. She loves singing. She's loved singing ever since she was really young, and she's pretty talented at it, but it's not something that is really being encouraged for her to pursue from her parents, but it's something she wants to do. But her parents want her to just like study, go to college, sort of do the traditional route of starting a career and not take the risk of becoming a singer. At the start of this book, she tricks her mum into going on an audition. It's sort of like Australian Idol, oh not Australian Idol, like American Idol. But in this book, it's not called American Idol, and she gets on that. She does really well, but she chooses a song that people aren't familiar with, and she also isn't appearance-wise, so this is what she says to herself, what people are also looking for, because she's a black girl, she has shaved off her head. She doesn't pass the audition, but at her audition was this superstar watching her who's like 28 years old, and he's been a pop star since he was like 15, and he really liked her performance, so he goes backstage and meets her, and it's him that she starts having a relationship with. The relationship doesn't happen immediately. I think it was done in such a good way because you saw Enchanted meet this guy and you completely understood where she's coming. Like, she's completely infatuated and in awe of him because first of all he's really attractive, but second of all he's this like celebrity figure, someone that she looks up to and has a career that she dreams of having. And then he starts to offer her help, like sort of like a mentorship, and so they start working together, and so then she relies on him more and more, and then you sort of see how he is wielding her in and how easily it is for her to follow along. And I think it's done in a really good way that doesn't dumb down Enchanter's character. I don't know if this book is going to beat Monday's Not Coming, because Monday's Not Coming had a focus on friendship, and that just meant everything to me, whereas in here the focus of the story is completely different and not heartwarming. I'm gonna try and tackle more of it tonight. I honestly thought I was going to get through this audiobook within like 2 days, and I've been listening to it for like 3 or 4 days because I've just really had to pace myself with it. So like big trigger warnings for it. I also decided to start Ship of Magic. I've set myself like page goals per day. So this one here is actually yesterday's page goal. I'm like 20 pages off yesterday's page goal. This is my new obsession. If you don't know, I adore the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. I actually am still in the middle of the last book, Assassin's Quest. That is so shameful. It keeps getting pushed back, and I was originally going to save this book until I finish that trilogy, but I really wanted to do this video, and this book is in this video, you know? This gives me like really strong One Piece vibes, like the pirates, the ships that have like souls. I'm mostly following this one family who have this live ship, and live ships in this world are the ships that have souls basically. So what are they called? You know, they're like the figurehead at the head of ships, and it's usually like a woman, or it could be like a mermaid or something. Those things like come alive in this book, and they can like speak, and that's like where the soul of the ship is. And they can help with navigation or like giving forewarning that something's going to come up when they're sailing and affect the ship in some way. They're pretty rare, and they take a long process to make. So ships with these are made out of this material called wizard wood, which is like magical wood, and we're seeing like other people in this world have like other sort of objects of wizard wood. Like there's a woman in here who has it in her belly button, and it's used to like prevent pregnancy. So it's got a lot of uses, and it's a really magical item thing. The live ships that are made out of wizard wood, they take 3 generations to actually come alive officially. So this family for 3 generations have been sailing this live ship, and one of the family members is dying. So once he dies, the live ship will like awaken, and the figurehead will like wake up. And I think that also means that the ship will be in its like full power or full capacity. So we're following this family, and there's also sort of conflict in the family, sort of like family politics. So the youngest daughter, Althea, she's always been the one that's actually gone sailing on the ship. She thinks that she should inherit it, but the oldest daughter has married the guy who is now working as captain in place of their father, because their father is the one that is like currently on his deathbed about to die. So there's like family politics about who's going to inherit the ship and who's going to be like the next captain. Then we have this like other storyline with a pirate captain. There are pirates in here. Isn't that just like the coolest thing? And he wants to become king of the pirates. He's basically a villain, and like the whole king of the pirate thing just like is One Piece. That's where the One Piece vibes are really coming through. I think what I love most about Robin Hobb's books is she does a lot of things incredibly, but I think her character work is so good. I should have updated you guys earlier because there's just so much that's happened and that is happening that I don't even know what to say, but I'm gonna try and update you a little bit more often with this one. So I have kind of done a really terrible job at updating this vlog. Apologies, but I'm so happy to say I finished Ship of Magic and that it was a 5-star read. This is my second 5-star read of the year because I did finish Empire Sand in my last vlog, and that was also the last book I've completed, and that was 5 stars. So I feel like I'm on a roll now, and I just have all my reading mojo back, so I'm so happy. I loved this so much. Robin Hobb's character work is truly elite, and I think that's what makes it stand out. We had such a great bunch, a mix of characters. We had characters in here I absolutely hated, and then we had ones that I really loved. So it was a really interesting mix. I feel like usually when it comes to like multiple POVs, I usually have like one character that I really like, and there's usually one I really dislike following. But in here, all these characters were so interesting that I didn't really have a preference. I guess I had like one character perspective that I preferred over the rest, but there wasn't any that bored me. Like I feel like there's usually a bad egg that you sort of have to drag yourself through those chapters, but I did not find that to be the case in here. here at all. I think it was so interesting and all these really different conflicts, and a lot of the conflicts weren't big epic things. The main plot of this, I think, and something that's like contributing to a lot of the events and things happening in the story, is this family who own this live ship. They've actually put themselves in debt from buying this live ship. They call themselves the traders. So there's like different families of traders, and this family of traders with their live ship are in really serious debt. It takes 3 generations for the ship to kind of come alive, or what they call quicken in this world, but it also takes 3 generations usually for the live ship to be paid off. But this family have fallen behind payments, so it's really desperate times, and they've just lost like the head of the family. Now the new head of the family is the son-in-law, and because he wasn't raised amongst their family and amongst what's called like the rest of the trader families, who they know a lot more about how the ships work, what was really exchanged for them to own these ships, and the consequences of them not being able to pay or repay their debt. He doesn't know that, and he's a bit oblivious, and he's also just such a misogynistic pig that he just wants to run the family how he sees fit. And so there's a lot of like family conflict going on. Most of the characters we follow in this are part of this family. They're part of the Restret families. But what's also incredible is like the ships themselves in this story are characters. So there was like multiple of them that we met, and they all had their own personalities and their own stories, and it was very strongly hinted at that there's a lot more to the ships than we know, a lot more about their history and making that I think is going to come and play a big part in the next 2 books and how the story plays out as a whole. It was so good. It was so interesting. It's very character focused, I will say. I think it was just so good because like all these characters were kind of in the same shitty situation, whereas their family is about to fall in a debt that they're not going to get out of, but they all have like different ways and different mindsets of how they want to get out of it based on like their beliefs and upbringings. I just think the book just did a really great job at convincing you like that you understood each character, and that you can see how they think what they're doing is right, even though it might not necessarily be so. Okay, I think I've said all I needed to say about this, and my plan is to continue listening to Grown. So my next update should be my final thoughts on Grown. Okay, so I finished Grown, and we got another 5-star read. Believe it, like it feels so long since I've had a 5-star at all, and to have this many in a row, like this is my 3rd 5-star read in a row. This video was such a good idea because it's really hyping me up and making me just so in the reading mood, and I haven't been that way for like 2 months, and I really missed it. This book continued to be a difficult read, so I really encourage you, if you do plan to pick it up when you're in the mindset for it, because it's a heavy book. Like it's a really heavy book. Like I said, we're dealing with grooming. There's so much emotional manipulation. It's scary. There is rape, sexual assault, and this book is so heartbreaking. It's so sad because we start off when we're introduced to Enchanted, who's this girl like full of dreams and hopes, and then she meets this guy who promises to help her achieve those dreams and those hopes, and he just uses her how he wants. This book is also really about what it's like for a Black woman to go through this, and the aftermath of that, and her trying to come forward and not being believed and also being blamed. It's really horrendous and hard and important. This is a really important read. I love Tiffany G. Jackson's writing and her storytelling and her characters. I think she does such a good job of opening up a really important discussion, showing a really important topic. I actually wasn't sure though that this was going to be a 5-star read for most of the book. I think it was like close to 5, but I wasn't really sure until like the very end, and I was like, nah, this is 5 stars. So Tiffany G. Jackson, I'm just going to read all her books because she is really amazing. So I actually have a little unboxing to do now. So I have this to unbox today. I'm so excited. I've had this sitting and waiting to be opened. Recently, Imposia reached out to me. If you've never heard of them, they have this online store that do hooded blankets, and they are mostly bookish inspired. I've seen these around, and when they reached out to me, I was so shocked. I couldn't believe it. Like, I still can't believe it. I've got one right here to unbox right now. I'm so excited. I love the design I picked out. Oh, okay, where, oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
In the next clip you will witness how many brain cells I lack.
is wrong with me? Hang on, I'm just gonna have to... Got it. Oh my god, it's so soft. Oh wow. Look at it. Oh my goodness. I'll do like another clip where you can see the full print, but it's like this moon and stars print and there's books. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Hang on, I'm gonna try it on. I'm gonna like fully try it on. Okay. Look how cute it is. Oh my god, I love it. Look at it. It's like I've got a little cloak. Thank you so much, Imposia, for sending this to me, for even thinking of me, and oh my god, I just can't believe it. I'm so lucky. If you guys are interested in getting your own one of these, you can use my discount code, which will be in my description box. It's Cozy Nicole, and you'll get 10% off. Make sure to check out their website. They have so many other beautiful designs. Also, thank you guys. I haven't said this yet, but I recently reached 3K and I also got monetized. So like, I've just had a huge flood of support in the last few months, especially. I've grown like faster than I ever have, and it's just been really crazy. And now to have a company that I, you know, have seen around and loved their items contact me and see like value in me to give me this, it's just really amazing, and it's all thanks to you guys, so thank you. I want to wear this all day, but it's too hot here. It's summer. This is gonna be me in winter all winter long. I started Powerball the Soar. I'm currently at page like 130, so I'm almost halfway. It's a pretty short book. This book is another dark read. This book is all about surviving in a changing world, in sort of a dying world. It starts off and it's set in 2024, and I didn't realize it until I started reading that this is sort of told in journal entries. Our main character is documenting her experience in this dystopian world that's sort of like, don't want to call it post-apocalyptic, because I feel like this world is still in the middle of transitioning to a post-apocalyptic world, and we are reading this main character, Lauren or Laura, her name's Lauren. She is sharing in these journal entries her experiences, also the experiences of her family members and also those in her neighborhood and community. What is happening in this world? There's like a lack of resources, like water is rare and hard to get hands on, so like people don't clean themselves that much anymore in this world. There is a lot of criminal, or I guess what our world would deem criminal behavior. Like there's a lot of thieving going on, there's a lot of murder and torture because people are trying to steal other people's values, whether that's food, whether that's money, in order to provide for themselves. There are like viruses going around. It's really interesting. There was some really interesting commentary on like politics, and at the very start it mentioned how the election was coming up, like there was the next election coming up, and some people were like, well, I'm not going to bother to vote because politicians don't do anything. And just in context to like 2020, there were some quotes in here that were very relevant. I would say this book is about surviving in this world and about adapting to change. The main character in this is not only journaling her experiences in this world, but she's also like writing this book of the living. I don't know, you get like little snippets of the book, and it's called like Earthsea, the Book of the Living, which I believe is the name of this series or duology. I can't remember if it's like a series or duology. There's already within the first 130 pages in this been so much loss. She's lost family members, she's lost a lot of community members. They have come from this like really close knit community who are basically just an extended family, and you see everyone, all the like families, how they deal with these situations so differently. At the moment this isn't a 5-star, it's about a 4. I'm really liking it, but this is one of those books that's very concept heavy, and there's a large focus on like focusing on the concept, exploring it and exploring relevant themes. One other thing I should mention that's quite important about this book, and something that I wish had been explored more because it was introduced quite early on and I thought it was going to become a larger part of the story, maybe that is still to come, but our main character has hyper empathy. Yeah, so she has hyper empathy syndrome, and so she can feel pain of others and sometimes emotions as well, but there seems to be a strong emphasis conscious that she can really feel the pain of others, which is so interesting. And we were introduced to it, and where we were introduced to it, it sort of talked about it and explored it for a bit, but then it's kind of not in it anymore, and I'm hoping that it comes back in and is more relevant, because I think that's just such an interesting concept to have in this setting where everyone's sort of struggling and in pain. So I would really love for that to be explored further. There are themes in here of like God and religion and people's relationship with God and religion in this setting. There's a huge also look at fear and how different people react to fear in these situations, and survival is huge in here as well. It's also a very interesting look at humanity and how people treat others, but also how people adapt to change or don't adapt. Lauren is someone who is very adaptable, and she wants to make plans and wants to start learning how to survive because it might be necessary. They might have to move out from their neighborhood because it keeps getting quite dangerous with robbers coming in and stealing and even killing those they're robbing from. So she wants to learn how to like survive in the woods and how to make things and do things that are going to be helpful and of extreme value and then there are others who don't want to do that because they're in denial. I really liked the conversation in here on denial and how people will denial change. It's like especially like extreme change that didn't happen gradually. Like it's really interesting look at how different people react to that and what they do. I'm hoping to finish this today. Okay, so it's later in the day and I just finished Powerball of Soar and I'm giving this 3 stars. I think, first of all, I might have got into this with a lot of the wrong expectations and also high expectations. Where this book, I think, really lost me was the journal entries. I don't think I liked the way it was told, and it made me feel quite distant to a lot of the characters. I really did like a lot of the concepts and the themes that it was talking about, and I thought it was talking about it in really interesting and thought-provoking ways, but I wasn't hooked in any manner, and I was really expecting to be hooked, especially because of the setting, and I was not. So a little bit disappointed. Also not sure if it was like my stupid moment because I didn't clock it. The Earthseed book that the main character's writing is actually like a Bible. So she's writing this new Bible for this new world. I feel like I really can't say anything else because spoilers, like I gave you my first update at like 130, 140 pages in, and I don't want to say anything that happens story-wise after that. But I will say after my last update, it did develop more of a plot and more things were sort of happening. But the plot was definitely still the, do I want to say weakest point? I guess the bit that was lacking the most, but not in a bad way. Like I don't think this book is intentionally meant to have a plot. It's meant to explore this world and these themes, not focus on the plot. I think I am a pretty plot-driven reader, so I wanted to point that out. Now, next and final book for this vlog is Monstress. I am going to start this right now and I'm hoping I'll finish it tonight, but I don't know if I will. Even though it's a graphic novel, I have had friends say to me it's not a quick graphic novel read, that it does require a bit of concentration, I think, in terms of following the story, but I'll let you know once I start. Okay, so I finished Monstress and I'm giving this book 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5. I didn't find myself to be particularly hooked. I do think there might have been a bit of a barrier between me being hooked just because I'm not used to graphic novels. I don't have a whole lot of experience reading them, although I do have experience reading manga. I do feel like that's quite different. It took a little bit for me to adapt, and I think there was also a lot of world building in this story as well, so it did take a little bit. So this book follows this girl and she does have a demon monster inside of her. At the start of the story, she has just been captured alongside all these other creatures who are part human and part something else. They are captured and imprisoned in this place where humans are taking them and taking parts of their bodies while they're still alive and using parts of their bodies for their means and goals. I don't want to say too much more. There's a lot of story and world building set up in this book and not a whole lot of plot, especially at the beginning. You don't really know what the plot is or any of it, and I feel like I only started to see the start of the plot halfway through the book. I really enjoyed this. There was a lot of setup with world building, like I said, and also conflict between different peoples. So there's conflicts between the humans and also these other creatures that are half human and half gods, but they're not called gods, they're called ancients. But the ancients really reminded me of the Egyptian gods because they are animals, but they like stand up like humans and sort of have some resemblance to human bodies, even though they've got an animal head and like full body fur. So they were really interesting. So yeah, I'm really glad I finally got to this. Like I said, I'm really good at putting off graphic novels, so it was about time I got to this, and I definitely plan to continue on with the next couple of volumes in this series because I do own them. They're just here actually. So these need to be read soon, and I loved the art style. The art is stunning. So with that, this video is now concluded. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I'm actually really keen to do another 5-star reading vlog in future. But I think what I will do next time is challenge myself and not read a book from an author I have read from before, because I feel like I made it a little easy for myself with the Robin Hobb book and also with the Tiffany D. Jackson book. I think it would be really interesting to read books by authors that are new to me that I think might be 5 stars. That will be a challenge. So I think I might do that sometimes in the future. Let me know if you've enjoyed this vlog, and if you have enjoyed it and you have made it this far, please leave me the, I think it's called the celebration emoji, the one that looks like you're popping one of those birthday things and all the streamers and confetti comes out. That one. Please leave me that if you've made it this far. I really appreciate it. If you did make it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're currently reading, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!